Welcome to After the Show, your weekly movie podcast brought to you by A. Scully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome to After the Show. Welcome Sid Talk, and welcome to me.
You're being self-kind today? Is that
yes.
the...
You know, welcome to everybody. Sid Talk. What's the before the after the show? Discussion.
Well, you were reading about this movie.
I was, yeah.
I was playing solitaire. You made a cup of tea, and that's about it.
That is it. And
super exciting. There was nothing like revelationarily about it or anything. Just
I don't think that's even a word.
Living life, and then boom, podcast.
All right, it's Saturday, February the 3rd. This is After the Show 824. We're a movie review podcast, and we look at a new movie every week. This week is no exception, as we look at the movie Saltburn. It's a 2023 release, out now on streaming, rated R from our friends at Amazon. Sid Talk, give us the synopsis of the movie Saltburn.
A clamps on to a rich guy.
Is this a spoiler synopsis?
That's the synopsis. What's it say on the box?
I'll give you the one off the box. A student at Oxford University finds himself drawn into the world of a charming and aristocratic classmate who invites him to his eccentric family's sprawling estate for a summer that will never be forgotten.
See, like I said.
I feel like yours contains spoilers.
It might. Well, then don't listen to what I just said.
I'll bleep out the spoiler word. So, Sid Talk, what did you think of the movie Saltburn?
I really enjoyed it, period.
Was your salt burned?
I find that title really interesting. Was this a book or a graphic novel or anything before? Or did this lady write? She wrote it and directed it.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just the name of the stately home that they live in, Saltburn.
Right. But I mean, it has a purpose.
Right.
That word. In the beginning of the movie, everyone is painfully unlikable, including our leading man. I mean, you may not have thought so, but I was like instantly like, I don't know, this guy. And everyone he encounters, everyone around, including the professor guy, they're just terminally unlikable. Like, it's just awful. Is that what Saltburn is? Like, that everybody's awful? Or I don't even know. I kept trying to put together what Saltburn was about.
Right.
Because it's the whole thing is a bit acrid and stingy and uncomfortable and wicked.
It feels like something is off all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. It's not your standard, go with it movie. It's very crooked.
Oh, crooked?
Is how I would look at it.
You mean like you have to tilt your head to...
Kind of.
Okay.
And also wince a little bit, always.
Oh, wincing constant. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it out loud, like, I feel uncomfortable right now, and I love weird shit.
Yeah, I do too. I want people to make the weirdest shit possible so I can consume it and be weirded out for a couple of hours. I really like that. I don't know why.
Well, I'm gonna put this out there. And much as I love you, and speaking of February 3rd, yesterday was February 2nd. Correct?
Yes, that comes before February the 3rd.
And so what happened on February 2nd, 24 years ago?
We got married
to each other. So yesterday was our anniversary. So happy anniversary.
Thank you. Happy
so
anniversary.
That means that I love you.
Oh, nice. I love you too.
And also that I know you very well. And so the idea that you like things that are sort of prickly and overstimulating and odd and off kilter is possibly that you are not that. You're a little bit on the safe, secure. We're not going to say bland because you're not, but people know what I'm saying. So you're kind of like straight and narrow in your behaviors. You're conservative. You're not any of these things that these people are.
I wouldn't call myself conservative, but go on.
No, conservative in your behaviors. You are. You're not wild or outrageous or anything. So to me, that's conservative behaviorally.
Right.
So these characters and these stories where it's just like these characters are able to do crazy, weird shit. And somewhere inside of you, you would never, ever, obviously you're not going to do what this guy ever did because he's psychopathic, like I said in my introduction. But it stimulates something in you that you're not going to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a little more wild than you, and I'll say whatever, and I'm a little more on the edge-ish. Not totally, because I'm still old. I'm getting old. But I also like weirdness, not because I'm not going to be weird, right? That they're expressing something I want to express. It's because I look around the world, and people are so boring. You know?
Yes, they are.
I don't want people to be this guy either. I'm just saying it's nice to see like, oh. And for some reason, one movie that popped into my mind near the end of this movie, and it has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Like it's not associated at all, but maybe you'll understand where I'm going with this. It reminded me of, oh God, what's the name of it? Human Centipede.
Oh, really?
That this unabashed, untamed, because near the end, we have a scene where someone is just, they've let it all loose. You know what I mean? Like completely let it all loose. And that's how I think of the guy from Human Centipede, the doctor guy. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He's just doing his thing. And it's like this, it's freeing and horrible at the same time. So I think that's what we both kind of get out of these kind of characters.
The overall story of this, like we said in the synopsis, is he makes friends with this aristocratic person at college. He goes for the summer to stay in his big stately home. And when I'm talking about stately home, it's a giant castle type stately home, right?
Right. They have royal titles, these people. So we know that it's ingrained, you know?
Right. So and the family are posh, but also odd. You know, movies often make posh aristocratic people seem like monsters or like they're frightening in some way.
That seems unfair. But then again, I don't know a lot of extremely wealthy, detached people, which is what we're trying to portray here.
He goes to spend the summer there at the beginning of the movie. I mean, you didn't, but I did. You just think he's the wide-eyed guy who just wants to go and hang with his mate for the summer.
I didn't think that at all.
But he really isn't that. He's more of a pariah / chameleon. He fits into the slot of whatever the person's after, it seems.
He's a psychopath.
He's also... This movie's dripping with bodily fluids. That's the only way I can put it.
You're right.
It's kind of... When she said she tried to be a lesbian once, but it was much too wet.
Yes, I love that. It's all very wet. Men are just much more dry.
Yeah. Well, this movie's kind of wet.
The Rosamund Parks character is, I love her. I mean, I don't love her because she's awful, and also I love her because she's awful. And she's just
now everybody's
unaware,
awful, right? In this,
yeah, everyone.
I actually think
maybe the daughter and even the son that we meet. I don't think that he's awful.
I think Felix.
Yeah, Felix
isn't awful. I think he's a very nice person.
I think that he would break free from all this.
Yes.
Okay, so the two young men in school, Oliver is our psychopath, and Felix is the rich young man that he kind of latches on to, literally. So Felix is from the rich family. There's the sister and the parents, and they're all very, almost cartoony.
Yes.
Rich, is that British rich? So remember, this is set in England, so everybody's British, just so in case you weren't aware.
Yeah, they're like super rich.
If you have a language barrier with the British accent, put on the subtitles if you need to. Not
what?
That you need.
Do you think that it's hard to understand these people?
No, I'm joking that people don't like accents and stuff.
Oh.
You know.
What kind of...
What kind of monsters?
Everybody has an accent.
True. That is true.
Yes. Everybody. Unless what?
I mean, not me, but sure.
Sure you do.
I know.
Yeah, so they're very rich people.
So they're at school. Oliver meets Felix and then kind of weasels his way in by saying he's had a hard time. His parents are addicts. His father died. He knows Felix is a nice guy, feels for him, and kind of takes him in. At the same time, as we're told multiple times throughout the rest of the story, when we're at the Saltburn Manor, Oliver is just one of many. So Felix always brings home a stray. The family always has people staying there, like little toys for them to pat around like a cat with a ball of yarn, and then they discard them all, right? So you've got the evil of that, and then the feeling of evil of whatever Oliver is up to.
This twisted tale of him kind of making his way through this family and kind of like I said, a chameleon. Like, he can see the weaknesses in people and he kind of exploits them.
Not kind of. Physically, manually.
Yeah.
Literally.
There are some scenes
with
where
lots of tactile things.
There are a couple of scenes where they literally go there and you will be watching the screen going, it's so depraved, like, what's happening? But,
I mean, I don't know about depraved. I think that's a bit strong.
You think?
Yeah.
The two scenes I'm talking about, we're not going to spoil them because I
No.
think they're best experienced.
I don't know about depraved, but...
You're looking at the screen going, oh, they're actually doing this now.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable and ugh. But I think depraved is one step.
I think there might be three
step,
scenes actually like that. Another one involves bodily fluids. You know?
But it's not depraved. That's a bit strong.
It is,
for me.
You don't expect it, let's say.
Absolutely. And
At
that's
least-
what's stimulating and interesting about it.
At least two of those instances I have never ever seen before in any movie ever.
Another movie that it made me think of was one of your faves, Midsommar.
Yeah,
Because there's crazy shit in that movie where you're like,
and the guy who plays
yes, he was Farley.
He's actually in Midsommar. So
Yeah.
there is a crossover.
But it gave me the vibe like we are cutting loose here and we are crossing boundaries of like, not like violence or goriness or anything. It's just this level of no, like that's to be hidden in a room, in a basement, in a cave, in a manor, on an island somewhere where only bazillionaires go to do that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There are
And yet
things.
you're seeing it and you're like, oh.
This movie's not afraid because I'm seeing the first thing happens and you're like, okay, I can understand now. This could go anywhere. So I am in for this.
You settle in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the cast. We've got Barry Keoghan as Oliver. He's our main guy. He is fantastic, by the way. I didn't know where I'd seen him before, but there's something about him that is very intense, let's say. He's just an intense character. Even if he wasn't playing this character, I feel like he would be an intense character on the screen.
So the opposite. I think that he's so kind of malleable that the intensity only comes in. It's like he's just a normal dude, and then he does the thing, one of the things.
Right.
And then you're like, ugh, he's not, there's no intensity leading up to that. It's like you only see him do it. There's no like lingering, like, what's the name of the one? American Psycho, like where you're very sure that in every single moment, that guy constantly wound, like, and you're just waiting for him to cut loose. Where this guy, it's not like that. He's just there's tension, but not from him. But I had this sense the whole time, like, oh, what is he doing? It gave me also vibes of the Talented Mr. Ripley, crazy shit like that.
Yeah, Talented Mr. Ripley, this kind of has that style in some way.
Talented Mr. Ripley, that is the movie we went to see on our wedding night or on the way home from our wedding. I forgot.
Is the day after our wedding.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
we bought The Sims, and I played The Sims when we got home.
But yeah, this did have some Talented Mr. Ripley vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who's kind of slipped into your life, and then
You're not quite sure what he or who he is.
everybody likes it, but some people see through it and all that. I mean, it's a trope. I get that, but this is done really well.
We've got Jacob Elordi as Felix. He's the guy that Oliver clombs onto.
Yeah, he's like charismatic and handsome, socially acceptably handsome, if you will. And he is charming, and he's kind of like blasé about how rich he is, and it can feel obnoxious for a minute, but you're also like, I think this guy just wants to like live,
Yeah.
like just be alive. And unfortunately, I think the idea is that every year he gets some poor little student that he makes friends with
Yeah.
and then brings him to the
Oliver's
big manor.
definitely not the first one.
Right, like to like impress them or something. So he has his dark side too, but I think overall I felt like he was an interesting guy.
Rosamund Pike plays Elspeth. She's the mother.
She's good. I like Rosamund.
Yeah, I do too. She has some really funny lines,
my
but then
God.
really tragic lines as well.
Funny and like uncomfortable, and she's blind to like who she is a little bit. but then it creeps out every once in a while. Like she's fully aware that she's living in this absurd play, of how they live.
Yeah.
But yeah, she delivers everything with this she stares right at the characters. And when she says stuff, you're just like, oh, she's just a mom. But no, she's like kind of off kilter a little bit.
We've got Richard E. Grant as Sir James. Now he's the father. Now, did you get the feeling that he's kind of losing his marbles a little bit?
I feel like he was insulated. So we see him laughing at movies. We see him interacting with his family. But then as shit
hapless.
starts, a little bit hapless, but also shit starts going very bad. And that's when he
gets into action there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, he's just like, it's him. Like, and he doesn't really know what he's doing. But then when the shit hits the fan and he brings him into that room, I'm like, oh no, he does know what he's doing.
Like he's been so disconnected from reality for so long that anytime reality starts sort of dripping in. So we have a friend of the mom who has come around. She's an interesting character, but she's been hanging around there too long. And then the mom lets us know that in the night or in the morning, the dad has had her escorted out quietly, right? So the dad knows about the leeches.
Yeah.
Who are coming to suck off of the family, essentially, suck the family blood. So he knows what's what. But I think he likes being in his isolated little world.
Yeah.
And that's why he seems a bit like, but then when the shit hits the fan,
Archie Madekwe plays Farley.
He's really good. Oh my goodness. I could just watch him all day.
Yeah, he is very good. He's good. He's also good in Midsommar, if you watch that one. But, yeah, he's a complicated character in this.
Yes, he's like the cousin. So the rich dad's sister is this guy's mom. So he's the cousin, and he's kind of lived there his whole life because his mom has problems. But he's an outsider as well. So he's sort of leeching off the family in a different way.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of them, and they're comfortable with him. He's like a security blanket. They've got their own little group, right? They don't want to let go of anyone. So even if they think he's done something wrong or he's, and what's interesting about him is he's very intelligent. He reads constantly. He's very observant. Like we established this when he's at Oxford. He gets kicked out of school, but that's because he's just bad behavior, right? But he's very smart. And so I like that about him. And at the same time, he's just living off of these people.
And then finally we got Sadie, who's played, Sadie Suverall plays Annabelle, who is the daughter. Right?
Annabelle? Anastasia or something, wasn't it? I didn't think it was Annabelle.
I said Annabelle in the...
It might be, but I didn't think that was her name.
Yeah, that's what it says, Annabelle. Just Annabelle, no second name. Might not be her.
Right.
Anyway, the daughter, let's say.
Felix's sister, the rich guy's sister.
Yeah.
And she was really good, too. Oh, my goodness.
And they've all got these problems in different ways, and she has one.
Well, I mean, she has her whole set of things. Like, she's kind of a real person living in this weird play and trapped in it as well. So, yeah, she's got her own shit going on.
Directed by Emerald Fennell, she also directed Promising Young Woman. That was her debut, and that won an Oscar for Best Screenplay. What do you think of a second movie, Saltburn?
I think I want to see more. I mean, that's the best compliment I can give, really.
Yeah. Also, this movie's in 4:3, but I didn't notice after about a minute. They filmed it in 4:3.
Yeah, I didn't think about it at all.
She said she filmed it in 4:3 because it was supposed to all feel claustrophobic. I don't know if that always works, because I forgot that it was in 4:3, but maybe it did. I don't know. Would it be any different in widescreen? Really?
No, it doesn't have that effect on me, but then you and I are a little immune to the tricks.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm supposed to feel more claustrophobic, more like people are closer to each other, well, we've had a lifetime of watching television, which was 4:3. So every sitcom, every movie, up until the last, 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
Our TV that we've lived with, just so everyone knows, we're in our 50s, right? So 60s, late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 4:3 is just like TV. It has no emotional effect. Now,
I forgot about it completely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've never watched old TV, old movies on TV, like I used to, because we didn't go to the movie a lot. We just watched them on TV. It just has no symbolic or any sort of emotional reaction to me. And You're right. I ignored it after the beginning too.
Yeah. Cinematography is really good though. I mean, this house is gorgeous in this historically stately way, right? Everything about it.
Oh, yeah.
And she uses film. So it's very natural kind of looking. The light coming through the windows and that I noticed. It didn't feel overly lit. It just felt like they used the light that was around there, but it didn't look grimy and grungy. I liked how it looked. IMDb reviews, what are those?
Well, there's reviews on a website called IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database, and people give it little stars, and you like the ones that give them 1 star, which isn't 1 star like, hey, that's the best.
No.
1 star's like, I've made the effort to come onto the internet, onto a device, to tell how much I hate this movie.
All right, so the first guy says, talking of the talented Mr. Ripley, he says, this movie is the untalented Mr. Ripley. There are some genuine laughs in the movie, but they're long forgotten by the time it stumbles to an end. It's like watching Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master and the talented Mr. Ripley and thinking, oh, I can do that better. But no, you can't.
Oh.
That's it for that one.
I like the voice, by the way. It's good. It's good.
Second one says, dreadful, pretentious waste of time. Too self-indulgent. I'm baffled by the reviews here. This is self-indulgent, unoriginal, poke in the eye, middle finger to the viewers. Shallow piece of trash.
Goodness.
There are no interesting characters, no interesting events, no moments of insight, and no story whatsoever. Who would watch this drivel?
Us.
Yes. And finally, idiotic movie. This movie is dumb. It seems like the director was just going for shock value and trying to cram in as many shocking scenes as possible. The movie isn't twisted. It's absolutely disgusting. A man drinks some bathwater, which possibly had cum in it.
Oh, see, that's a spoiler right there.
Possibly. I like how he says possibly. Like, possibly it might not have been in there.
Yeah, and we know.
Yes, and no. Yes and no.
Just to correct you, because I love it after 24 years. Alison Oliver played the sister, whose name was Venetia. You had the young lady who played the girl, the young woman who Felix had sex with, and then she kind of came to his room wondering. Oh,
yes, I did, actually. Yes, I did.
So
yes.
Alison Oliver.
You know why? Because she was listed.
She was. Yeah. I had to dig down, but Alison Oliver played Venetia. She was awesome.
Yes.
She was the one who's like the outsider watching the absurdity of it all, and she's drunk a lot. She has an eating disorder. She is promiscuous. Her mother doesn't seem, she's just like, oh, she's so promiscuous, and she always has been. And she says she has fingers for dessert, meaning she's aware of her bulimia.
Yes.
But what do you do, right? What do you do? And that young lady in the bathtub scene and in the garden scene,
yes,
which we will not speak of because that's very uncomfortable. She was awesome. Alison Oliver.
Nice.
Hi.
Thanks for that.
Sure. Anytime you want me to correct you, I'm here for you because I love you so much.
All right. Conclusion. I am going to give Saltburn a 9 out of 10.
Woo-wee. I'm going to give it an 8.4.
I would watch it again. It was so cool. And I just really enjoyed it. The whole thing. Also, when we're talking about things that might bother people, there's also penis in this movie.
Yeah.
If you're bothered by penis, then don't watch it.
See, I think that should be a non-topic now because there was also no vaginas or breasts or assholes. So I don't know. I think we should just get over all that.
I mean, there was some assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, no sphincters.
No.
Just assholes. Yes. I got you.
9 out of 10 and 8.4 out of 10? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Very good. All right, thank you to Amazon. Next week, we're going to look at the movie The Royal Hotel. Do you know it?
No, I don't think so.
It's got Ruth from Ozark in it.
I thought you were going to say Ruth from In the Factory.
No, Ruth from Ozark.
Okay, so there is a lady who's on a TV show we watch, that's British, called In the Factory. Is that what it is?
Inside the Factory.
Inside the Factory. And then they have a historical lady who tells us the history of a thing like Christmas tinsel Ruth. Or pies. And her name is Ruth, and she's awesome. She is unabashedly a history nerd, and I love her. And so if there was ever a movie that had that Ruth in it, I like both Ruths, by the way.
I like anybody called Ruth. All of them. All right, movie recommendations. I'm going with Rosamund Pike, Gone Girl. I'll always recommend you Gone Girl. And Richard E. Grant in How to Get Ahead in Advertising, which is fucking awesome.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Well, you should, because Richard E. Grant is something else in that movie. I thought he was quite good in this movie, to be fair.
Yeah, because I'm convinced he's the sort of distant, rich dad who loves sitting and watching movies with everybody. He wants everyone to have a good time. He likes the parties. He likes all that. And I was convinced. And then when he got a little bit like pissed off, you're like, oh, there he is. You know?
That's the real guy.
My recommendations are going back to the 20th century, either in the adventure and or action world. I forget which one I picked. I just got a list of all the movies I've seen. And we're starting with Adventures in Babysitting. Fun little wacky movie. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I don't know if that's like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Action or adventure, but I mean, it's something.
Did you like that movie?
I feel like it was pretentious. Really? That's mostly what I get from it. Same as like Barton Fink or any of those that are like really stamped with this like almost overly intellectual, like if you don't get it, you're an idiot kind of vibe.
You know, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I don't like, the one that he made, Inherent Vice. Yeah. That's very close to what Fear and Loathing is. I didn't really like either of them.
It has smatterings of that for sure. Yeah. And then Joe Dirt also on my list of movies I've seen. Stand By Me. Very good. And today I was looking up Will Wheaton for a very bizarre reason, so don't ask, but I'm a Star Trek person and I garden, and Will Wheaton apparently grows food. And so there you go. There's that, if you want to know that about me. And so Stand By Me's got him in it. It also has Corey Feldman, so there you go. And the movie Chef, which is Mr.
Jon Favreau.
Favreau, yes. Fun little jaunt, and also a little bit pretentious because you're like, oh, chefs think a lot of themselves. But it was good. It was fun.
I like movies about chefs.
Just in general?
Yeah. Ratatouille. I like that. There's a chef in that.
Do you?
Yes. Hey, Scully stuff. I've just been playing some more Fortnite. So Fortnite, I've added a racing mode recently, and I find that I play the racing mode more than the shooting mode now, Sid Talk.
Should I have a response to this?
Well, I like shooting and racing, but I kind of favor racing. I always have. So
does this have any impact on me?
No.
Okay.
So they added like a racing mode called Rocket Racing. It's on the main menu. You can just click it and play. It's racing with a twist. Your car can jump, and your car can also turbo boost. So the tracks are really devious, I would call them, because some of them take place in the air. You can fall off the track. Some of them take place on the ground, and then you jump up into the air. Some you have to go upside down, like it's a whole, like a spiral that you have to drive upside down on. So I would equate it to something like Hot Wheels, those cars you played with when you were a kid.
Got it.
Where the tracks loop the loop and everything. So it's not just straight up racing. You've got to time your jumps, and you're racing against other people. So it's Fortnite Rocket Racing. It's free to play. It's really fun. I play it on the PC, but it's also on everything else. Sid Talk, what's for dinner?
Combination of things. Because when I asked you, you wanted a thing, some French fries.
Yes.
And that might come with an Impossible Whopper. So we can go get that. But then I'm like, I don't really want an Impossible Whopper because it gives me heartburn. So I might go get me a Jimmy John and some French fries or some potato chips. I don't even know yet. I could even go to Taco Bell. Yes. It's one of those nights.
And what is your advice? And then we will bugger off.
Oh, my. Does everyone know what that means? Bugger up. Does that just mean go
away?
After 2 decades of British vernacular, I'm still not always sure what you mean, but I'll just assume it's innocent and fine.
It's nothing to do with anal play.
Oh my God. Or drinking bathwater.
Right. None of that.
Or chairs in the garden.
No.
Or newly buried graves.
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Woo.
We've already had all that today.
Oh, sorry. No spoilers. No spoilers. Here's my not advice. It's advice that's not advice, which some people love. And some people are really bored. They've already stopped because it's time for this, right?
Yes.
In the world, I'm sure this isn't new, but it feels like it's a wave of this happening, that people devalue efforts that you make to do something well or do something with a lot of like intention, like me learning about gardening. I've actually had people I know, because I like to sit down, like I was reading earlier, what the difference between a corm and a stolon and a rhizome and a tuber are. I don't need to know any of that shit to be able to grow a potato. Like, I don't need to know it, but I like to know it. So then when I'm growing it or I'm researching what's wrong with it, I've just got more. I'm more into it, right? I'm also making a table cover for a little presentation I'm doing for seed starting. And I could literally use a $1 plastic table cover, because I have these little plastic tables, right? I could just do that, but I don't want to. I want to put the effort in. And if someone is like, oh, I had to go to all that trouble. Oh, I could never do that. That just takes so much time. Oh, that seems really boring. If they devalue what you're doing, you get to choose, right? Do you just give up then and go, oh, well, okay, then I guess I'll just fucking stick a potato in the ground and wait for it to grow, and my urge and desire and the satisfaction I get from learning things, I'll just put that aside because you don't think it has any fucking value. Do I do that? No. Or do I just do what I want? If I'm in an emergency room and I'm trying to solve a problem of like a severed finger, then no, I'm not going to sit there and go, hold on, everybody. Let me take the time to research a little bit more about this. No, I get it. There are moments in life. If you've got cattle that have escaped your farm, or you have an emergency situation, or you have children in danger, or anyone in danger, or someone's choking on a chicken bone in a nursing home. No, I don't expect you to sit around and take your time and be like, well, let me research that. I know exactly how to do a Heimlich maneuver. Let me read up on it a little bit. I get it. You can't do that all the time. But I think sometimes that attitude overflows into things like you learning how to do, you're the same as me. When you want to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like this podcast, over the years, you have made the intentional effort and taken the expense and time of your life to learn more and more and more about it. Whereas someone might devalue about this, dismiss that instantly, goes, it don't matter, man. I don't give a shit what it sounds like. You're wasting your time.
Right.
Would you then just go, oh, you're right? Because even I say sometimes like, wow, you're getting really into this audio stuff, because when I listen to stuff, I don't hear what you hear, right?
No.
So it's fine with me if it's a little bit whatever. But I appreciate that you want it to be the way you want it to be, and all the effort that you want to go to get there. It has value.
Yes.
Because it satisfies you, the enjoyment of researching it, the enjoyment of testing it and messing around with it. And then when you listen to other podcasts, or like me with photography, now when I look at other photos and film, I'm always thinking about it, like, oh, how do I put a light over there and do, all that stuff. So you can either give up because people don't value your effort, or you can be like, look at them and think, wow, how sad that you don't want to make an effort to do something well or to satisfy whatever it is, or you don't have that. It's sad for me that people don't have that urge. So I'm just going to carry on. And then whatever my results are in my gardening, if I completely fail growing every potato and every plant, even though I have all this information in my head, I'm cool with that. And I'll just keep doing it.
I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that, man, because it has value in my life. And if I were to drop dead right this minute, everything I've done matters to me. It fills my time and enhances me as a person, all of it, not just the gardening, but everything. And if people try to constantly tell you that you're wasting your time and what you're learning has no value, and making the extra effort to make your little table setting look nice just if your friends are coming over, or they want to devalue how you do your makeup, like, why are you putting your makeup on so nice if you're just going to the stupid store? That's stupid. Like shit like that, right? Fuck them. Don't be them. There's advice. Don't be them.
And fuck them. All right, nicely said.
That's the end. That's the end.
Very well said. ascully.com is the place you can go to get this podcast. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and YouTube. You can also catch us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Sid Talk because she doesn't have an email address. And finally, stay classy. The director here, Emerald Fennell. And I'm really excited to see what's next.
Is that how you say her name? Emerald?
Yeah, Emerald.
Oh, like the gem. Okay,
yeah, like the
nice.
Gem. Emerald Fennell.
Okay, and I'm going to say You know what I'm going to say. Think for yourself or someone's doing it for you.